My name is Justin, and welcome to Amelie. This is a horror Yuri visual novel, and I'm a little bit nervous to play this. I don't usually play too scary of games because there is a few content warnings I want to mention before we get into this. So you got jump scares, you got suicide obsession, death, blood, bones, gore, stalking, flashing images, all that stuff. So if any of that's going to bother you, don't even bother watching this. But if you are interested still, we're going to go ahead and keep going. There's 3 different routes. I'm probably going to make a video for each route, uh, providing there's not like extra content beyond that. I think that all the content is covered in those 3, and that should be technically 3 different endings that will make the whole cohesive story here. But let's go ahead and jump into it. And I mentioned I was nervous. I'm nervous because if we look at this screen right here, it says begin. It doesn't say start, it says begin. And I'm like, oh, what am I getting myself into here? Where lies your future? Okay, so that says 0 out of 1. I don't know if that means something's going to happen in those routes or if that's just saying 1, 2, and 3. But let's go ahead and start with Amelie here. The rain never seems to cease at this time of the year. It pours from the sky in its unending grief as if longing for something unseen. Thunder roared in the distance, enough so to make the young woman flinch, but not enough to make her waver. The pendulum clock on the wall swung back and forth, ticking down the time. She seems to be late. Perhaps she is not coming after all, Amelie. There is no need to make such a sullen face. Mayhaps this is for the best. I will say, I'm not generally a huge fan of visual novels that make this kind of realistic eye style. I think it's very creepy, but in this case, I think it'll actually add to the game. She wrote that she would be here, so I shall wait. The young lady named Amelie sat upright in the lounge that rested by the entryway. Her back was straight and her head was level. Do you truly believe it's safe to have visitors during the outbreak? Lilica, I believe we have been isolated long enough, and Sophia has written that it is safe. I trust her word. She would not endanger us. And if your pen pal turns out to be a robber in disguise, what then? Amelie smiled. She has a way with words that only a woman could have. A lady robber, then. Nonsense. By the way, Lilica, have you seen my letters? I can't say that I have. A knock sounded at the door, instantly halting their conversation. Amelie rose from her place and took a steady step forward, before Lilica raised a hand to her. Allow me. The door groaned as it slowly swung open and revealed the young woman who knocked at the door. She was drenched from head to toe. Amelie stood stock still, unsure of what to say, but that had only lasted a moment before the woman at her door bounded forward and wrapped her arms around her. Amelie! Sophia! She blinked before finally allowing her arms to wrap around Sophia's back. You're completely drenched. Did you forget your umbrella, perchance? Or perhaps her umbrella got carried by the away by the wind. Lilica pushed the door shut, sealing the building. I didn't even think to bring an umbrella. The forecast said sunny all day. My fault for believing it, I guess. I can't believe you're truly here. Me either. About time, right? You're just as pretty as I knew you'd be. And you too. But what are you wearing? Yeah, actually, what is she wearing? That's like a really giant hoodie. Ah, seeing your house, I feel like I should have dressed up a little bit more. No, perhaps it is I that is overdressed. Lilica stood to the side, her arms crossed slightly over her chest. Her long hair reached down nearly to the wooden floor. Pardon my manners, my dear friend Lilica is here too. I believe I wrote about her in the past. I remember. I've kept all your letters safe, don't worry. As you should. Haha, sorry, but is there any chance you have a towel? Of course, my apologies. I would usually have someone here to attend to us, but everyone has been sent home. Only the 3 of us remain. Let me fetch you a towel. Ah, an empty mansion. This is a recipe for disaster, I'm sure. Amelie knew not to run, yet a part of her felt the need to almost skip in joy. She wanted desperately to be back by Sophia's side, chatting about everything that they missed in their letters. The 2 had been pen pals for as long as she had remembered. Sophia's letter had been first delivered to the manor by mistake, but for some reason Amelie had felt compelled to reply. Since then, the 2 had been best of friends, even having not met face to face. To finally meet now in the flesh had certainly been of great excitement to Amelie. She quickly retrieved the towel and made her way back to Sophia's side. Lilica stood a distance away from her, still looking vaguely unhappy. Sophia spun around, a look of surprise on her face when she saw Amelie. Sophia? Oh, Amelie, please use this. Thanks, I'll bring an umbrella next time, I promise. Sophia lightly toweled at her hair and clothing, drying off from the rain she had found herself caught in. Then if you're now dried off, would you care for a tour of the house before afternoon tea? That sounds great. On your right is the pantry, and down the hall is the boiler room, but you shouldn't have any need for those spaces. The two walked side by side, with Lilica trailing slightly behind. Those are all of our bedrooms. I have prepared this one for your use. If you find anything not to your standards, you can let myself or Lilica know. Amelie, I have a feeling your standards are much higher than mine. I've never been in a house that looks like this. No? Is your home not similar? Well, it's a lot smaller. There's no shame in that. You own your own property, yes? Yeah, I recently bought it. With your husband? What? No, of course not. I'm not married. Your father allowed you to buy property on your own? Emily, you speak like just how you write. I'm so surprised. And you speak quite casually. People usually say that about me. Being here, around you, makes me want to be more formal. What need is there of formality between friends? That's true, too. Ahem. This is the morning room. And next door to the dining room. We'll be having afternoon tea in the sitting room here. So many rooms. Upstairs is the bedroom and the master bedroom. I must ask that you don't enter the master bedroom as it belongs to my parents who are currently away. Of course, I won't go poking around anyways. All this walking has made me parched. Shall we take afternoon tea now? Sure, that sounds good. Why don't you have a seat while Lilica and I prepare our food? Oh, I can come help. Nonsense, you're my guest. It would be remiss of me to allow you to lift a finger. If you insist, but I'm happy to help anytime. Thank you. I will be back soon. Please rest. Amelie. Yes? It's nothing. Take your time. Sophia slipped through a doorway and disappeared. Amelie smiled gently, feeling giddy from the bottom of her stomach. Isn't this lovely, Lilica? To have a new face in the house, it feels like forever. Yes, how lovely. I'm glad you are having fun at the very least. Are you not? I'm always having fun when we're together, Amelie. Ah, I see. Are you jealous? Worry not, my dear friend. Of course our friendship means just as much to me. I value you greatly. Just as much? Indeed. Come along, Lilica. Let us prepare tea. Yeah, this seems like it's going way too well for what I know is gonna happen. It's like when you see a warning that says like blood and guts and bones, you know things aren't gonna go too great. You know it just goes downhill from here. Did you finish the baking yesterday? The pastries are ready for serving. Excellent, I'll just fetch the tea then. Allow me, a lady of your standing shouldn't be doing such a menial task, should she? Don't be absurd, even Sophia herself seems to be in the kitchen. Fine in the kitchen. Did you hear how she jumped to help? I should follow her in her footsteps. What would your parents think of that? I appreciate the sentiment, but they took with them all of the staff. I had little choice but to prepare my own tea. I see. Then shall I attend to our guest? I wouldn't want her to become lonely. Would you? I'll be only a few moments. Of course, anything for you, Amelie. It'll be a good chance for you to become friends, too. I'm sure it will be. I feel like there's a little bit of, irony in this. I'm sure they'll become good friends. Sure. Lilica left the kitchen with slow, deliberate steps. Amelie turned back to the kitchen. I wonder what she'd prefer. Oh, there's different options. I don't know if this is gonna matter. Is there different endings based on what you decide, or is it just from each point of view? I thought it was gonna be from each point of view, but I'm not sure. I feel like oolong would be like the right tea for this, even though I've never drank oolong or green tea. But we'll find out. Father imported this for Mother, but I'm sure she won't mind if I borrowed a little. There. Amelie retrieved her finest teapot and 3 matching cups. Pink flowers blossomed over the white surface. Something about it reminded her of Sophia. I'm back. Ah, Sophia. Oh, Amelie. I'm sorry, you scared me. Is everything alright? Yes, I think I'm just a little tired. Good, I'm sorry for the delay, but I prepared the tea and the pastries. So this is what a high tea looks like. High tea will come later. This is just simple afternoon tea. Will Lilika be joining us? I believe so. Was she here a moment ago? No, she wasn't here. How strange. She told me she was coming to sit with you. Perhaps she's gotten herself busy with something else. Should we wait? There's no need. It'd be sad to let the tea go cold. Oh gosh, it's already beginning. Whatever's going on here has already started, and I'm a little bit afraid. Amelie poured tea into 2 cups slowly, copying the movement she's seen Lilika do time and time again. Do you have much trouble getting here? A little. My ride broke down, so I had to walk for a bit. Broke down? Ah, I'm extremely sorry. If the staff had been here, I would have sent someone to collect you. It's okay. It's just a little rain. I just wouldn't want you catching a fever. My medicine store has been running low of late. No worries. I usually carry ibuprofen with me. Ibuprofen? I haven't heard of it. Who hasn't heard of ibuprofen? Anyways, I'm glad you arrived here safely. I'll draw a bath for you later just to make sure you are warmed up properly. Thank you. Amelie sipped at her tea before looking down at it with a confused expression. A little stale. I'll ask my father to procure a new batch when he arrives home. Where are your parents, by the way? Well, we were separated due to the plague. They took the staff to wait until a cure is found, and left me here with Lilika as to not catch the disease. Right, I understand. I spent a lot of time separated from my family due to the pandemic, too. It warms my heart to find another thing in common with you, Sophia. I was surprised to hear that it's safe enough for you to visit. Perhaps this means my parents will be back soon, too. I think so. The world seems to be opening back up again. So, what do you do, locked up in this big house all the time? Well, I usually spend my time sewing or playing music. I used to write, but, well, my parents wondered if I was feminine enough. I don't really think that matters. If you enjoy it, then I say you should do it. Sophia, then what about you? Well, I'm studying art at a university right now, so I guess that's what I spend most of my time on. You attend university? Yeah, although I'm thinking about dropping out. Sophia, you truly are filled with surprises. You own your own land, and you attend school. How jealous I am. Yeah, where do you live that you can afford to do that? Unless you have really rich parents. Why don't you do the same? Oh no, I'm not allowed. Of course you are. Anyone can attend within reason. But, well, wouldn't it get in the way of my marriage? You're engaged? Amelie shook her head. No, not yet, but I'm already 19. I'm sure my father has prepared my dowry. An arranged marriage? Yes, naturally. I don't think I'll ever get married. Really? Doesn't your family object? I don't think they really mind, as long as I'm happy. You don't have to either, you know? You've given me much to think about, much indeed. Now I wonder where Lilika has disappeared to. Well, it's no matter. The evening is already coming, and soon it will be dark. Shall I draw you a bath? That sounds wonderful. To be honest, I'm not hungry, so can we skip dinner tonight? Of course, if that's what you wish. Let me show you to the bathroom. I don't like where this is going. It's too happy. You may not believe it, but my father has had taps installed. Isn't that wonderful? Like, taps for a bath? That's right, we used to have our maids fill the bath, but now there's no need. Hahaha, Amelie, you're so strange. I have taps at my house, too. Truly, you must live quite the lavish lifestyle yourself. I don't know about that. I'm trying to think. Is there going to be some, like, weird plot twist, like she's been living in the past or something? I'm trying to think of why she would be, like, so far behind, you know? And she writes letters, so I'm assuming she doesn't really use technology. And it seems like she's kind of living in the present, but then Amelie is like not. So we'll see how that goes. This is the bathroom. Allow me to draw the bath for you. One moment. With haste, Amelie entered the room and began to fill the copper bath. It sat in the middle of a spacious room. Dang, copper bath? That's fancy. It was something Amelie was particularly proud of. She smiled as it filled before rejoining her companion. Feel free to go inside and make yourself comfortable. I will return with a towel in a moment. Thanks, Amelie. She disappeared inside the room, leaving Amelie alone in the hall. I should light the sconces, too. Where did I put those matches? Right here. Oh. Okay. You came back suddenly. You gave me a fright, Lilika. Where have you been? Preparing the guest room for our dear friend, of course. How kind. Sophia's just preparing for a bath at the present. I'm going to retrieve a towel for her from the linen closet. Amelie, I think it is best you send her home, post-haste. What? Why would I do that? For all you know, she brings with her the plague. Sophia says it is now safe to travel. She believes father and mother will be returning soon. I believe it is perfectly safe. And what if she lies? Oh gosh, is her friend going insane? She wouldn't do that. Sophia is a kind and good-natured person. She would not bring any danger to us. Did you know that Sophia attends a local university? And she lives by herself with no husband. She says that if I wanted, I could also study. The lady of the house should not study, Amelie. You must stay inside the house and await your parents. But I'm sure mother would want what's best for me. Perhaps while I await her, I could go to inspect Sophia's school. Amelie, you must stay inside and wait for your parents' return. But don't you trust me? Have I ever tried to lead you astray? No, Lilica. I was just thinking that perhaps it is truly beginning to be safe. Look, I have brought today's newspaper. Did you see the title? The plague runs rampant. Put any notion of leaving or studying away for now, yes? As soon as it is truly safe to do so, then we shall, and you will be reunited with your family. For now, it is just you and me. Thanks, Lilica. I'm glad you're here. As am I. Ah, the towel. Let me go retrieve it. Go ahead. Is anybody else getting a weird vibe? Like, she keeps telling her to wait for her parents to return. I don't think her parents are going to return. Is anyone else getting that vibe? Is anyone wondering if something happened to them that Lilica's not mentioning for reasons? Anyways, we're gonna find out. The linen cupboard was filled with various towels and bedding, all clean and properly folded thanks to Lilica, which would suit her. A pink towel or a blue towel? I think personally a pink towel, but I don't know what the choice difference would end up, you know? This one, it reminds me of her eyes. With her chosen towel in hand, Amelie returned to the bathroom door where Lilica awaited her. She first knocked at the door, and when there was no reply, she opened it carefully. The sound of the tap running still came from inside. Excuse me, I'm coming in. Sophia, I knocked but didn't hear a reply. I brought you a towel. Ah. Amelie first saw a slender marble-like back, then she noticed the blue hair that fell on those bare shoulders, one side tucked carefully behind an ear. Oh, Sophia, please forgive me. I didn't realize you had already entered the bath. No, it's okay. I'm sorry. You just surprised me. I'll leave the towel over there. Thanks. Did you tell her that she must depart? No, Something the matter. Are you feeling unwell? Your face is bright red. Sophia will stay until she decides to leave. As you wish. I'm sorry, Lilica, but the image of that small and beautiful back filled up Amelie's mind. I believe it is only fair after she traveled so far and she is my friend. I will finish preparing the guest room. Let me come help, Sophia. When you're done in there, you can come to your room. From the other side of the door, Sophia's voice came in return. Okay, thanks, Amelie. The guest's bedroom was freshly cleaned with new linen on the bed and a lit lantern beside it. You did a fine job of preparing the room so far. Thank you, Lilica. Anything for you. I was thinking, tomorrow if the rain is cleared up, we could open the greenhouse again and have our morning tea there. It's been so long since we last used it. Didn't we already speak of this? You cannot leave the house. But surely the greenhouse would be safe. No one else uses it and is only a few steps from the back door. It is unsafe. You know this. What's gotten into you? Is it because of your friend? Yeah, why is she not even letting her go out of the house? Like, you're fine as long as you don't go around other people. I just thought it would be nice to sit in the sun. Then you may sit by the window in the dining hall. Is it really so unsafe that even taking a foot outdoors would be dangerous? Yes. Sophia, I see you're done with the bath. Amelie shook her head, trying to remove the image that was still plastered to it. Were you talking about the greenhouse? Yes, did you see it when you arrived? I did, but it looked as if the plants inside had died. Oh, that's impossible. It's been barely any time at all since the gardeners left. I'm sure the plants inside are more sturdy than that. Even if they have died, maybe we can go in and replant some things tomorrow. How wonderful. Have you not heard a word I said? It is unsafe to do so. Oh. Don't be such a spoil sport. I think it would be perfectly fine. Well, it's getting late now, so I'll leave you to retire. If you need anything, my room is just upstairs on the left. Good night, Sophia. Lilica left first. The door, which was still hanging slightly open, shifted as she went. Amelie, would you stay for a while? Something the matter? Just a little homesick. Sophia sunk into the bed, sighing as her head hit the pillow. Of course, why don't we chat for a while? Then come join me. Sophia gently pet the spot beside her on the bed. In the bed? Ah, okay. The bed was still rather firm, unused by many guests. Amelie took a deep breath to calm her racing heart before she finally looked towards Sophia. Thanks for staying with me for a while. It's nothing to worry about, truly. I want to spend more time with you too. Really? You don't find me boring? You're the most interesting person I've ever met. Don't be silly. I'm being completely honest. You truly are so unique. I think the same about you. I've never met anyone like you, really. You wrote so much about yourself, and yet seeing you in person, I feel there's still so much I don't know. There's plenty of time for us to tell each other everything. Then tell me something about yourself, something you've never told anyone. I'm partially blind in my right eye. Really? How well can you see? It's okay, just a little blurry, really. You tell me something. Well, when I was 12, I stole the cookie jar from the kitchen and blamed my brother. He was scolded for hours. What a mischievous child. I'm sure your brother wasn't all too pleased. Actually, it was his idea. He knew I wanted it and told me to tell my parents it was him if I was asked. What a good brother. Where is he now? Did he go away with your parents? Amelie shook her head. He died when he was 16. Oh, I'm sorry, Amelie. What happened? Scarlet fever. So my family was left with only me as an heir. And what worth is a female heir? You're worth plenty, more than plenty. Thank you, Sophia, but some days I'm unsure. It's your turn again. Truthfully, I said before I didn't want to get married, but that's not exactly right. I do. Oh? I just don't want a husband. Then, I'm sorry, does it make you uncomfortable? No. I have also thought that I don't want a husband. Whenever my father has brought it up, I felt sick to my stomach. How about coming away with me for a while? Away? Outside of the house. What about the sickness? It's okay now. You'll be okay. You could come stay at my house. I could show you around my school. You don't have to go through an arranged marriage if you don't want to. You would do that for me? You are my dearest friend, and I actually... Lilica? At some point, the two women had got close enough together that they could feel each other's breath in their lips. The two parted with reddened cheeks, Amelie quickly brushing her skirt off and standing up. I should be going to bed. Please rest well. We could talk more about it in the morning, right? Right. Good night, Amelie. I'll see you tomorrow. Lilica? It is late. You should retire to your bedroom. Yes, I shall. It's nice having someone else around, isn't it? I feel as if the manor is coming back to life. I hope we see Mother and Father soon. I'm sure we will. Shall I see you to bed? Yes, please. The hallway was darkened with only a few sconces and candles lit along the way. Usually that would fill Amelie with a sense of comfort, but right now the flickering flames seemed to make her feel distressed. Whether that was because of the way her mind was racing or the way her heart was beating, she didn't know. As she rose up the grand staircase, her eyes lingered on the large stained glass window. The moon shone through the colored glass, leaving a rainbow of colors over the steps. It caught her attention, but only for a moment before she retreated to her bedroom. Lilica, may I ask you a question? Certainly. Have you ever heard of a woman loving another woman as a woman would love a man? Where did you hear about such a thing? No in particular. It was just a thought that came to my mind. I think you are overtired because of all the excitement, Amelie. I think it is best you get some rest. Yes, alright. Good night, Lilica. Good night, Amelie. Oh boy, what's gonna happen tomorrow? Oh boy, I'm a little worried. I don't know about y'all. Good morning, Lilica. I was just on my way to see if Sophia has awakened yet. Amelie. She's gonna say that she sent her away or something. But I don't know. Well... Sophia disappeared during the night. I believe she went to the same place your parents went. Why did you phrase it like that? Hold up. Let's go back. Sophia disappeared during the night. I believe she went to the same place her parents went. Why did you phrase it like that? That sounds really weird. That doesn't sound like a specific place. That sounds like the place. What? That cannot be right. Don't run, Amelie. Amelie dashed down the hall and knocked quickly on the door of the guest bedroom, which fell open with no resistance. Inside, the bedding was disheveled and her luggage was strewn about. It's not true. She wouldn't just leave without saying goodbye. Dearie me, I'm sorry. I told you it was a bad idea for anyone to visit, didn't I? Oh, Lilica, this isn't fair. I thought she would... There, come here. Lilica wrapped her thin arms around the young woman, gently patting her on the back. See, you shouldn't depend on anyone else. I'm here. I won't ever leave you. Amelie clutched at her back, tears already falling from her eyes. We'll be together forever. That sounds very possessive. So that was 1 out of 1. Together forever. Okay. So, kind of the vibe I'm getting is, so that's 1 out of 1. So there'll be 2 different, like, I guess, endings for this, depending on your choices. And then it sounds like that's going to be 3 out of 3. Interesting. We're going to go back, though. So, okay, I guess I'll give some brief thoughts before we move on to the next episode. There's definitely something else going on here. And obviously, you can say that just because we know that this is a horror game and there's supposed to be some other stuff going on. But why did she say she went to the place that her parents went? That just sounds like she killed them. And especially because the room was all disheveled and her luggage was all flung over the place. Sounds like there's a fight. And she's been wanting her to leave since she got there. Which maybe she should have, because apparently now she's probably dead. But anyways, we're going to keep playing. I'm going to make probably a separate video. If there ends up being like 2 different endings for the second route, I'll probably just cover those all in a video. But I'll make a video for each character. How does that sound? So anyways, guys, I would like to thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.